welcome back to New Jersey Power and Politics. I'm Rick Holmes. Now, we talked about the governor's popularity in the last segment. That popularity does not appear to extend to the state Supreme Court. The court backed an appellate court ruling to reinstate the Council on Affordable Housing, an agency which the governor was hoping to abolish. My next guest is here to talk more about what that means. Staci Berger is with the Director of Policy and Advocacy for the Housing and Community Development Network of New Jersey. Staci, welcome to the show. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
What we were interested in is COAH. What is it, and under a perfect scenario, how is it supposed to work?
In a perfect scenario, the Council on Affordable Housing is an independent state agency that helps communities build the homes and therefore create jobs that families and residents in New Jersey need. They set up a system, and it has worked pretty well for the last 30 years, that they told communities this is approximately how many homes you need to build. Communities collected a private non-residential developer fee, and those fees helped build those homes.
Now, the communities are told how many houses to build?
There's a formula that had been used in the first, what they call 2 rounds of the Council on Affordable Housing's ruling. About 10 years ago, the council changed the methodology, and it was very unclear how that methodology was going to work. There were a number of lawsuits. The whole thing wound up in court, and it has really just been a stalemate since then.
So that's one of the reasons that maybe the governor has been saying, we don't need all this more red tape, let's try to get rid of it. What would happen, because there have been 2 rulings now to support COAH, what would happen if it were to be abolished or go away?
Well, the legislature actually adopted a bill last year that abolished COAH, but maintained the process by which communities could determine how many homes they needed to create. And that really is the crux of the issue. It's not just the agency, it's the issue itself, to make sure that everywhere across New Jersey we have affordable homes for everybody at every level of income.
Well, there have been complaints about the way that COAH operates from both sides of the aisle.
Absolutely.
The mandates have saddled the towns with unrealistic requirements for more low-priced housing units. Do you think that the towns have complaints when it comes to these requirements that you've been talking about?
I haven't met anybody who loves the Council on Affordable Housing, except that it's doing its job. Usually, you know, in government, if you've made everybody angry, it means you're getting something done right. What the Supreme Court has done is say the governor can't abolish it unilaterally, that it's a legislative creation, and that the legislature needs to take action. If his executive order reorganization plan were allowed to stand, the one that he adopted at the very end of the budget session this time last year, pretty much the last possible day he could do that. If that were allowed to stand, it would actually affect other independent state agencies. So that's part of the process. It's a constitutional issue. The governor is only one branch of government in New Jersey. We actually have 3 branches of government.
Of course, but yeah, a lot of voters complain that these organizations get set up and they're there in perpetuity. Sometimes they do have to come to an end. But if COAH were to survive, how would it change? How would it evolve?
That's an interesting question. I think the answer really comes out to what the method is that is used to determine how many homes a community has to create. COAH was working fine for 20 years. There weren't really very many complaints about it. It was when it changed the methodology that really people got upset about the numbers and the way that it was the way the decisions were being made. But if there's not enough money to build those homes, then we really won't be able to do anything. And that's the crux of the issue today. Is the budget, you know, as we were talking about before, the budget is really up for grabs. And so the money that those towns have set aside to do those, to make those homes happen, are really at risk.
Well, Staci, we were talking during the break that the governor seems to dip into these funds from time to time. That's supposed to be expressly set aside, but we all know that's not always the case. What has been happening with those funds?
The governor's proposed budget, which the Democrats are considering right now in the legislature, takes about $200 million out of the coffers of local communities. Those dollars were assessed locally, and they've been handled locally, and we think they should remain locally to build those homes.
Well, they've set the deadline, the Senate and the Assembly, to extend the deadline for towns to use the money they've collected for affordable housing. They would have 2 more years to lose this money. So does it look like that part of this is going to go through?
Well, in the Assembly and the Senate, we've had great leadership and support from both sides of the aisle to hold those monies for 2 more years in those communities. The bill will be heard again on Monday, we hope, and then we'll go to the floor. So we believe that there's strong bipartisan support from all around the state to let those dollars stay where they are. The problem is you can't do a tax cut if you don't have enough income.
Right. As we head into that Monday vote, which a lot of us are waiting for, what is the status of COAH this week, right now?
Right now, the Supreme Court just earlier this week issued a stay, so the governor cannot abolish it unilaterally. They will hear the case, but the Supreme Court said the governor can't just do it with with his own signature.
And does COAH, do you think
So far.
ultimately will it have a future? Or
I don't predict what the Supreme Court's going to do.
Yeah.
There is legislation the governor could sign that would abolish COAH, but it would require that towns still build homes for people, and the governor has chosen to not sign that yet.
Ultimately, that is what it's
That's
all
what
about.
that's what New Jersey's future needs.
All right,
Great.
Staci,
Thank you very much
Thank you
for
so
having us.
much. It was really nice talking to
It was
you.
nice talking to
Appreciate
you
it.
too.
All right, well, that just about wraps it up. We'd like to hear what you